good evening. Today is April 16th, 2019, and we are starting for our town board meeting. If we could rise for the pledge, please. Bob, you want to do the honors?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jim, you have somebody?
We sure do.
Evan Cooper. She is there.
We always call on our faith community to lead us in an invocation, and we're very proud to have with us, especially during this Holy Week, Reverend Mary Cooper. Thank you for being with us, Reverend Cooper.
We're going to ask you to stand once more. Uncover. Thank you. To my military. Father, we come before your presence with thanksgiving and praise for another opportunity to meet and to greet fellow travelers, oh God, who live here in Riverhead. We thank you, oh God, that we can come together to talk about things that we need to share. We thank you for this land that you have given unto us, oh God, that was flowing with milk and honey, oh God, but now it's flowing with buildings and less trees, but flowers and green grass, oh God. We thank you. We ask your blessings upon those who have been selected to lead this community to higher heights and deeper depths, oh God. Thank you, oh God, for the citizens, oh God, who come to give their understanding and their thinking and their thoughts on what need to be done. We ask that there be a meeting of the minds, oh God, that the young people who are coming behind us will have a place to enjoy. We give you praise, glory, and honor. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Reverend
Thank you,
Cooper
Reverend
from the
Cooper.
House of Praise.
At this time, if we could, if it's okay with the board, I'd like to take several of the resolutions out of order. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Good idea.
All right, if I could take the first resolution, which is Resolution 219-303, which is authorizes the honorary name designation Detective Brian Simonson Way along South Jamesport Avenue. Can I have a second?
Second. Motion?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent. Absolutely, yes.
Hubbard.
Yeah, I want to thank Melissa Peaker for putting this together. It was an excellent idea. We're very proud of what you did, and it's a true honor to respect Brian in this way, so thank you very much.
Giglio.
And yes, although I didn't know Brian very well, I know Mike Boyko very well. And, you know, any brother of his is a brother of mine. And I know he was very well respected through the town of Riverhead, and I'm deeply sorry for your loss. And if there's anything that we can ever do for you, please don't hesitate to let us know. And I'm proud, I will be proud to unveil that sign on Conway Boulevard, yes. Or
Wooten.
South Jamesport Avenue.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yes, I didn't know Brian that well. I did have an opportunity to meet him a couple times. But I can tell you, it demonstrates not only the respect that, well, I have for law enforcement, it's the risk that they take and the plight and their job that they chose to protect us, and it's unfortunate, and it's a really heart-wrenching what happened to Brian. In this small way, we can remember him and remember what he did for us, remember what he did for the people of New York City as well as his community here in Riverhead. So this is a small way for the town to recognize his efforts and those of all the police officers that serve us. So I vote yes.
Jen Smith.
I vote yes, and I would just like to say that we have Leanne Simonson, Brian's wife, with us, and his mother, Linda Simonson, and also his grandfather, Vernon Peterson. So thank you for joining us tonight. This is really just a small token of our gratitude to Brian, to his commitment to our community and to New York City. You know, my thoughts, my prayers, my wishes go out to you and your family. I know that this is a difficult time, but you know, to let you know that our community cares. Brian will not be forgotten in this community. He will always be remembered, and being able to put this up there is our way of committing that to you. So, thank you.
Resolution adopted.
And I just want to say that the thoughts and prayers of our entire community are with you. And hopefully, you're feeling that love.
Shall we call resolution 302?
Yeah.
Resolution 302.
So thank you very much. And then we will reach out to you, because I think a lot of people in the community would like to attend. We're in the middle of arranging the dates with you. It'll be sometime probably in early June. And then we will let everybody know the exact date and time. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, Resolution 302 authorizes the renaming of Lewis Street in Riverhead, New York. Back in May of 2018, the Riverhead Town Board authorized an honorary designation of Deshaun J. Briggs Way along Lewis Street, and this resolution will make that a permanent memorialization for Deshaun Briggs. So,
I'll
So
second.
moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Another one of our beloved sons in our town, and I'm glad that we're moving forward with this, and prayers and condolences for the family, and I vote yes.
Hubbard.
Yeah, same thing. Dave Sean and his family, certainly, we appreciate as an American people all our servicemen and women. And Dave Sean paid the ultimate price, but he did what he wanted to do, and he was happy to be where he was. So we appreciate that. We thank him and his family for that, and certainly we will enjoy permanently naming Lewis Street in honor of him.
Giglio.
Yes, and thank you to him and his family, and most certainly Deshaun, who lost his life for his service to our great country. And it's an honor to put up this sign and to dedicate this road to him. Yes.
Wooten.
yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes, and I believe Eli, are you here?
Yes, he's here
I
somewhere.
can't, oh, there you are. We have Deshaun's grandfather with us tonight, and, I would just like to say, it's for such a small community to have lost two people from our community, in service to us and to our country. We thank you, we thank your families, and once again, this is a small token that we can put forward, so yes.
Resolution adopted.
Okay, thank you. So we will continue with our meeting as scheduled.
All right.
Thank you.
So you got announcements, right?
Yeah. So our announcements, Town Hall will be closed this Friday, April 19th, in recognition of Good Friday. I wish you and your family a happy Easter this Sunday, and Passover, which starts on Friday and will end next Saturday. The Town Board will be hosting a community forum on the proposed changes to the concession sale and sale of alcohol at the South Jamesport Beach. The purpose of the forum will be to gather valuable feedback from residents on the proposal. Residents who are interested in expressing their thoughts on this issue can join us at the Senior Center at 60 Shade Tree Lane in Aquabog on Tuesday, April 30th at 6:30 p.m. Jim, did you want to talk about your cleanup? Sorry to catch you off guard.
You caught me off guard taking a sip.
All
You
right.
talking about a townwide cleanup?
Yes.
Yes, May 4th. It's Saturday. It's gonna be a beautiful day. It's gonna be a beautiful spring day. We're meeting at Town Hall at 8 o'clock in the morning, right in the front lawn. There'll be bags and pickers and vests and T-shirts and goodies and snacks and water and all that stuff. And then we're gonna break out and attack different areas of town that, we're compiling a list now. So if you're out there and you hear this, if you know an area that you drive by or you walk by and that needs some special attention by this robust crew of thousands that's gonna show up here on Saturday,
With
let us know
pictures.
the list. We expect a good turnout. We've got a pretty good committee. We've got a contest going on currently with the middle school to come up with a slogan that we're gonna use in all our signage. It's something similar to Hoot but Don't Pollute, but something like that. But we'll see what they come up with. We've got prizes for that as well. We're gonna announce that winner on the 4th as well. So come on down. It's a good time to get together. We go out and we attack different areas. We'll coordinate with the highway department to pick up the bags, so you don't have to bring them back here. You can leave the bags at the side of the road after you fill them. And it really does make a difference. So, that's it.
Thank you. And actually, as a prelude to that, the Wading River Chamber of Commerce will be holding their Earth Day cleanup on April 28th at 9 a.m. And this group is meeting at the shops at Eastwind and will disperse from there. If you'd like more information about that cleanup, you can call 631-886-2800 with any questions. Again, that's 886-2800. The Business Advisory Committee is seeking applications. The ideal candidate will have a strong interest in promoting business, knowledge of the town, experience in running a business, and have a strong passion for getting involved in the community. If you'd like to participate in that or submit a resume to the town clerk at townofriverheadny.gov, or you can call the town clerk for further information. And just again, as a reminder, any letters or correspondence that you would like to be on the record and for the town board to receive, they need to go through the town clerk, again, at townofriverheadny.gov, or you can mail or drop your letters off. And once again, we always urge people to sign up for e-notifications. You can do that through our website, and then you will be informed of upcoming events. That's where I have for announcements. And now can I have approval of the minutes for our regular meeting on April 2nd, 2019 at 2 p.m.
I move we approve the minutes from April 2nd.
I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
The minutes are approved. Do you want me to just go right into correspondence?
Yes, please.
Okay. Under correspondence, there were quite a few letters, so bear with me. From Jane Kratz, attorney for the applicant, she sent a letter in response to the Flag Corporation public hearing of April 2nd. Also on that same matter, Knowles of Fox Hill Homeowners Association also sent a letter, and so did Pat, and I'm probably going to say this wrong, so please excuse me, Pat Kozlowskis also sent a letter on that same issue. J. Nelson Happy, attorney for the applicant, sent a letter expressing notice of withdrawal of special permit application of URT. John McAuliffe sent a letter expressing his opinions on the EPCAL deal with CAT. Melissa Peaker, as mentioned before, sent a letter requesting the honorary designation of South Jamesport Avenue in Jamesport in memory of fallen NYPD Detective Brian Simonson. Dean Turchurnian and Nathalie Marie Olensky, representing the residents of Bear Estates, sent a letter requesting repairs and improvements to Town Park located in Bear Estates. Bruce Waterson sent a letter requesting reconsideration of any decisions to introduce wine and beer and musical entertainment at the Jamesport Beach concession. William Van Helmond, president of the Greater Jamesport Civic Association, sent a letter to the Riverhead Ambulance Corporation and Town of Riverhead Town Board expressing concerns as to emergency medical coverage during peak traffic weekends on the east end east of Route 105. And Judge Alan Smith, with our Riverhead Justice Court, sent a letter informing the Town Board of a recent judicial notice and a request that the town take the necessary steps to provide improved Wi-Fi access to the courtroom. Then I have reports. I'll just read the most recent. Tax receiver, total tax collection to date as of April 9th, $86,664,348.06.
That's all.
That's it.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, at this time, we will move on to public hearings. Our first public hearing, which was to begin at 6 p.m., it is now 6:22. And the first public hearing is the consideration of an amendment to Chapter 105 of the Riverhead Town Code entitled Zoning Appeals Board of. Article 2, Appeals Board of Filing Fees, Section 105-9. You know what, Jeff? Do you want me to read all of these off and then you can address them together?
You may want to address them separately, only because of the fact that you may want to table one and not another, and you may want to act on one separately from another, so I get
Okay, go ahead then.
Okay. Good evening, Madam Supervisor, members of the board. For the record, Jefferson Murphy, Building and Planning Administrator for the town. Tonight we have a series of public hearings on a number of proposed fee increases in the planning department. This is a subject that I have been involved with for approximately 25 years of my professional career in over 3 or 4 different jurisdictions, and it's one that has been discussed at a national level through the American Planning Association. Is what should a municipality charge an applicant to review a development proposal? And the reason why it's being discussed at a national level is that when you review a development application for a planning board for a subdivision or a site plan, unlike a building permit application, which is being done pretty much for the sole benefit of the applicant, when you review a development application before the planning board, zoning board, you're not only reviewing it on behalf of the applicant, you're reviewing on behalf of the surrounding community as well. Zoning is about protecting public health, safety, and welfare, not just of the applicant, but of the surrounding community. So when you look at a development application, you have to look at how is this proposed development going to impact or affect the surrounding community. So in that regard, typically an application fee to the planning board, zoning board is not just 100% of what it costs the staff to review on behalf of the applicant. It's usually a proportion. And the trend nationally, if a municipality can get 50% or recoup 50% of the fee for the total amount of time that it takes to review the application, you're doing very well. The application fees that you will be hearing this evening that we currently have in the books don't even come close to that. So I'm going to go over those changes in fees with you momentarily. The second part that we looked at is what does it actually cost for the town of Riverhead to review a development application? So we took a couple of hypotheticals, I shouldn't say hypothetical, real-life applications, minor subdivision and a zoning board application, and took a look at the number of hours that would actually cost, hours that would take to review it, and multiply it by the different town staff members to review it. The third part of our analysis included what do other towns charge for the similar type of applications? Are we consistent with them now? Are our proposed changes consistent with what other charge as well? And the last thing we took a look at was when was the last time these fees were changed. The first public hearing tonight has to do with zoning board of appeal applications. And this is on the first one, which is under residential applications for a use variance. Right now, we have a flat fee of $150. We're looking to bump that up to $500. To change the application fee for a use variance in residential zone means you're going to change it to something other than residential. That's a heavy lift. That requires a lot of staff time, it requires a lot of secret review time, it requires a lot of deliberations by the zoning board. So we're looking at going from $150 to $500. The town of Brookhaven charges $500, the town of Southampton charges $750. For an area variance, for dimensional setback for a residence or interpretation, we currently charge $150. We're looking to bump that up to $300. The town of Brookhaven charges $300 for this application. The town of Southampton charges $750. There is one correction I'd like to make. That's under item D. It states that we're adding structures being 100 square feet and less, including swimming pools. That's already in the code. It should not have been underlined. The next change is commercial applications with the zoning board. For use variances and interpretation, we are proposing to go from.
Jeff, can I just, so the structures being 100, so if somebody was putting up a shed or they were putting in something like that, then the use variance, that would just be a $25 application?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, and that's in the code today. We're not proposing to change that.
You don't need a building permit for a shed.
But if it's an undersized lot?
It's underlined, it should not be underlined. Going on to commercial applications before the zoning board, for use variances or interpretations, we currently charge $500, and we're proposing to double that to $1,000. The town of Brookhaven charges $1,070.51. Don't ask me to explain how they came up with that fee.
They do based on the CPI. They increase fees every year based on the CPI. That's how.
The town of Southampton charges $300. The last time these changes, these fees were changed was back in 2005.
You said Southampton charges $300?
They don't have any differentiation between use variance and area variance for commercial. And again, the last time these fees were changed was back in 2005. And that's all I have on this public hearing.
All right, just stay up. Is there anybody that wanted to come up and comment? Okay, I'm gonna leave all of these open, Jeff, while we go through the three of them, and then, so we'll move on to the next public hearing. I can leave that open and continue with the next
Are
one.
you gonna leave it open, or are you gonna close it for public comment and leave it open for written comment till next Friday?
I
The
think I'm
Business
gonna-
Advisory Committee has requested, they had their first meeting today, and they requested that we leave these meetings open regarding the application fees
Okay.
for at least 30 days until they can meet again and make recommendations to be discussed at a work session.
Okay. So,
No,
so
add
are
back
we
to the
leaving it
public
open
co-
for public comment or for written comment?
Well, right now, all I wanted to do was allow Jeff to comment on all of them, leave them all open till he finishes with his comment, and then figure out what we're doing
Do it
then.
individually.
That's what I'm asking Bob. Can I
Well,
leave?
I mean, if the desire is to close the public comment, we.
The desire won't be to close it.
We're not gonna close them? All right, so we would leave them open for a month, but we should really,
Clo-
make that announcement at each public
At
hearing.
each public
'cause
hearing, that's
one
what I'm
was
asking.
noticed
Okay.
separately. All right,
All right, so we will, so it's just leaving it open?
We're adjourning it, in other words.
That's what I'm saying, we adjourn it to a next date, right? So we would, when are the, town board meetings in May?
May 7th, and then it's Wednesday, the 22nd.
The 22nd? So we'll adjourn it till May 22nd?
okay.
Okay, so now we'll move into our next,
So just to be clear, it's gonna be May 22nd, and it's going to be on at, that's a 6 o'clock meeting, so it'd be at 6 o'clock.
yes.
And that is a
Okay.
Wednesday.
Okay, that's Wednesday, okay. All right,
Oh, that's right, because the assessors meet on Tuesday.
yeah, okay.
Okay, at this time, we will open our second public hearing, which was to begin at 6:05. It is now 6:30. It is the consideration of amendment to Chapter 301 of the Riverhead Town Code entitled Zoning and Land Development, Article 52 Subdivision Regulations.
At mine, in Miss Order, I had special permits next.
Oh, sorry.
It says subdivisions next, correct?
Subdivision regulations is next,
301,
correct?
288.
Okay, you're throwing me off my game.
All right.
Good evening again, Jefferson Murphy. I'm not gonna repeat everything I just said about national averages and how we came about the changes. What I said the last public hearing continues on to this one as well. For minor subdivisions, right now, we have a flat fee of $50. That's it. That does not even cover the cost of 1 hour of any of my staff time. Now, we are proposing to charge $500 plus $200 per lot. The town of Southampton charges $800 per lot. The town of Brookhaven charges $800 per lot. The town of Southold charges $1,000 per lot. So we are proposing $500 plus $200 per lot for a $900 application fee for a 2-lot minor subdivision. That's keeping with all the East End towns.
And now, when was the last time this was looked at?
2003.
Wow.
And I believe the last time it
Oh,
was
I take
amended
it back.
in 1990.
I apologize, Jim. I was wrong. That was for the major subdivision. For minor subdivisions, 1990.
There you go.
I was gonna say, because you're going,
Yeah.
Yeah.
for $50 or $500, a pretty heavy.
That's almost 30 years.
Yeah.
So
I know,
it's due.
I was alive then.
I apologize. I didn't mean by the editorial comment. That was for minor subdivisions. For major subdivision applications, we're proposing to go for, this is for sketch plans from $250 flat fee plus $200 per lot. We're now proposing to change that to $500 plus $200 per lot. Town of Southampton charges $800 a lot. Town of Brookhaven charges $526.68 plus $210.67 per acre plus a seeker review fee. We have not included our seeker review fees in our proposed changes in any of the applications that you've seen tonight. So this is just for the staff review of the application, not the seeker review. The town of Southold charges $1,000 flat fee plus $750 per lot, compared to our $500 plus $200 per lot. We're also proposing to change our industrial subdivision fees. Right now, it is a flat fee of $100 per lot. We are proposing to change that to be consistent with the numbers I just read for you for a residential subdivision, to be the same for industrial subdivision, which is $500 plus $200 per lot. We're also proposing to change the preliminary subdivision fees in industrial subdivisions from $500 plus $20 per acre, whichever is greater. And the same goes for the final subdivision plat, which would be the same thing as your preliminary subdivision fees. And that was last updated in 2003. And that concludes my presentation on subdivisions.
Okay, is there anybody from the public that would like to come up and speak? You just have to come up and,
Zal's coming up also.
Sal Mastropolo, Calverton.
We've missed you.
Yeah, I just have a question. Under the major subdivision, there's, under number 2, it's $500 per acre, or part thereof. And under the industrial subdivision, under number 2, preliminary plat, it's $20 per acre. Did we drop a zero, or is that the way it should be? It just seems that
Jeff,
they
do you want to address?
they should be a little bit more consistent.
So it's the major subdivision for the preliminary plat versus the industrial for the preliminary plat, where the industrial has an acreage fee?
Right.
Is for which one, industrial?
Major subdivision, 500 per acre. Under the preliminary plat.
All right.
And the industrial subdivision, $20 per acre. You have it in 2 places. I'm just wondering if they drop a zero, or you realize that they're not consistent. May not be able to answer it now.
Well, the one is
because
lot,
that
one is per, one is lot, one is per acre, is that?
No, they both have a fee per lot, and then a fee per acre, okay? It's just that
Oh, I
the
see,
per
I see.
acre fees are not even close.
To the per lot fee?
Right,
All right, I'll go back and take a look at that.
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Hello, this is Suleika Hines, 1130 Middle Road. I have a question in terms of the subdivision. I understand that we're looking not only at the time frame with the last time it was reviewed, but also looking at the various towns. Has an impact analysis been done on the current town of Riverhead? And has an analysis been done on who this is impacting? Because a lot of families have multiple lots and they're dividing it between their children and grandchildren. And it's fair to say that they've been paying their fair share of taxes for the past 10, 20, 30 years. In addition to that, we got to consider the current economic climate of our tax situation and the fact that salt and how salt has impacted our community. So yes, it makes sense that we need to incrementally increase it, but having a 500% increase or a 1,000% increase just because we failed to look at it in 2003 doesn't justify us simply moving forward without looking how it is impacting our community and who in our community is actually utilizing it. And there should be another point to be considered, is that if it's a resident is subdividing the lot and they have lived here and it's a family lot, then there should be another way for us to take consideration into that as well. Because at the end of the day, it is the constituents of Riverhead that we're looking at, not Brookhaven or Southampton, who have a different income baseline that we need to put into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Generally, I agree with it,
Me too.
but realistically, I don't.
Just as a follow-up to that, one of the most time-consuming applications we face in the planning department are the 2-lot minor subdivisions. There's a misconception amongst the public that they have an oversized lot in their neighborhood, and they simply can come in, draw a line, pay $50, and they can get their subdivision and recoup a significant financial benefit. When in reality, subdivision laws in New York State is extremely complicated. Time and time again, we see applicants come in without legal representation, without a licensed surveyor. They have no idea what the review process is within the town, or the health department, or with the county clerk, or the real division of property. Councilman Giglio knows this entire process intimately. It is time-consuming, it's legal, there is town law regarding subdivisions. You cannot do it by yourself. And unfortunately, time and time again, we see subdivision applications submitted, and all the best wishes and all the goodwill, and unfortunately, the applications never go forward because they cannot afford a lawyer, they cannot afford a surveyor. So the applicant really needs to take that into consideration before they submit an application. It's not a simple process at all.
Okay. You need to come up to the podium if you'd like to say something.
Jeff, it's my understanding that the fees were raised based on the amount of time that the town is putting into doing it, just actually to break even, not to make money, but just to cover our expenses, correct?
We're not into it as a money-making.
But there wasn't an analysis done as per the time that it takes to get from A to Z in an application.
And the fees do not cover the cost.
And one of the things to consider in that is that we have a free public library system here. And one of the things that I have seen done in other towns, because I've also been in redevelopment of other towns, is that they put what is called a community forum, where there is actually a free workshop or a workshop that is given utilizing the services that we currently have. And one of the things that you may require in order to expedite a process or to also lean the process is make that a mandatory procedure. You know, sometimes when you you want to reduce your points in your driver's license, you take a driver's license class and you reduce your points. That's another way to consider this. This way, we're addressing two things. We're educating the public, reducing the time that it takes to be able to address these issues, but incrementally increasing it so we come up to par to the actual cost, but not going so over the top that we're hitting everybody with fees, which is a very difficult thing to do in this current climate. So we can look at education as a way to be able to address some of these concerns and start the conversation and create schedules in the Riverhead Free Library where somebody can come and provide information about the process, and let that be the first step. Not just a 500% increase, because we have a lot of time to work on. Both of those areas are relative, but they have to also be addressed in a way that is fair for all the community in Riverhead, not just because we're comparing it.
Thank you.
In response to that, we do. We offer free advice, one on a daily basis. If anybody ever comes in on a daily basis, we're there, 8:30 to 4:30 every day. Every Tuesday morning, we have what's called a pre-submission meeting. Councilman Hubbard sits in on that. The public can come in on any application free of charge, and they discuss what their development idea is. And we will tell them all the pitfalls, we'll tell them what the process is, we'll tell them what the estimated fee is going to be, tell them what legal or professional interests are needed, such as a surveyor, an engineer, what the process is to get through the health department, the county clerk. That's free of charge. We offer that to every single applicant and non-applicant in the town on every Tuesday morning.
Thank you.
So
Certainly, I
if you
think
ever have any questions,
I think education's always a good idea, and I agree with you on that, but, I mean, if we look at the time frame, it's been between 14 years and close to 30 years that we've even looked at this. I think that's a ridiculous amount of time, so.
Well, I'm waiting for all the public comment, but I'm looking at them too, and I realize that there's not a needs analysis done, and that's always been a stickler for me, because otherwise it just looks like raising fees to raise fees. But in comparison, you would think that I realize that some of them are really short. 30 years is a long time to go.
where were you 30 years ago?
But you would think with technology and computerization and email, a lot of this probably is streamlined where it's not as time consuming as it may have been 30 years ago. So I'm gonna look at it.
All right, if there's anybody else that wanted to come up and comment on this resolution, seeing nobody, I will adjourn it, but leave it open till May 22nd for our meeting. Next, we will move on to the next resolution, which is public hearing, which is the consideration of amendment to Chapter 301 of the Riverhead Town Code entitled Zoning and Land Development, Article 57. This is special permit.
Okay, now I'm back on track.
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Once again, Jefferson Murphy. Same speech as before. This has to do with special permits that you see before you. I think you've seen in the last year or so, a couple of applications, how long they've taken to process. That does not include the seeker review. We're proposing a fee increase from land disturbance for construction of buildings less than 4,000 square feet, from going from $500 up to $1,000. The current fee for buildings or land alteration greater than that, than 4,000 square feet, right now it's $2,000. We're not proposing to change that. The town of Southampton currently charges $620.60 plus $103.43 per square foot. The town of Brookhaven charges $1,053.36, and again, we're going from 500 up to 1,000. And again, this $1,000 fee does not include the seeker review. That's just the review of the special permit application. This fee was last reviewed and updated in 2003.
Jeff, on something like this, a special permit application, how many, a minimum of staff time, how much would you say would be spent on a special application permit?
I think we saw one application, I'm not gonna name names tonight. We saw a very big one, and we saw a very small one. We saw the medical office over east of here, and you saw how much time that took with that. That took several public hearings. Had to go to the zoning board, that required staff time. That was a considerable effort for a very small application. And the $1,000 fee would not cover half that time, that amount. But again, it's how much do you charge an applicant? It's not 100%. If you can get close to 50%, we're doing pretty well.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody from the public that wanted to come up and comment on this?
Hi, good evening. So my name is Rob Carpenter. I'm here as a member of the Riverhead Business Advisory Council, or committee. We had our first meeting tonight, and the committee unanimously passed a resolution asking the town board for additional time to study all of these permits as part of the advisory committee. So we would request you leave this open so we have time to talk about it at our next scheduled meeting, which I think is
Yeah, we talked about that already.
at the end of the month.
Yeah, we
So-
talked about that.
Yep,
Okay.
so we're keeping them open
a month.
till May 24th.
Okay, just wanted to reiterate that the Business Advisory Committee is also
Thank you for
supportive of
putting it
that.
on the record, and thank
Thank
you
you.
for being a member.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else from wanted to comment on this public hearing? Okay, so seeing nobody, then we will leave this one also open till May 22nd at our regular scheduled town board meeting. Next, we will move on to our next, which is it's supposed to begin at 6:15, it's now 6:45. A public hearing, the consideration of a petition by the Knolls at Fox Hill, Phase 5, to be served by the Riverhead Water District.
Want my jacket?
Good evening.
Hi.
Nick Bono, H2M Architects and Engineers, representing the Riverhead Water District tonight. The project in question is up in Baiting Hollow. It's already in the Water District and is assessed district taxes. Essentially, to serve this development, it would require a 1,200-foot, 8-inch diameter water main extension, which essentially would close the loop of the existing water main that's been extended up in the area. The water main extension would be located within a 15-foot easement within the private road that would be dedicated to the district. The property itself would require about 4,725 gallons a day of flow, which could be met by the existing district facilities. There's been a 2 MGD storage tank and some improvements to booster pumps. Irrigation on the property would be supplied via on-site wells, not from the public supply. The cost for the 1,200-foot extension has been estimated at $304,000. And the key money that would be paid by the applicant would be on the order of $55,282.50. The cost of the project would be paid in full by the applicant and not by the town.
Give them water.
Just out of curiosity, is this a loop system or is it a dead-end main?
No, this would essentially close the loop. There's an existing dead-end main up there. So by closing
Okay.
the loop, provide better water quality and
Good.
increase fire flow.
Thank you.
All right, and we have somebody from the public, I think, that wanted to come up and address?
Sal Mastropolo, Calverton. Again, we have an inconsistency. This public hearing calls for 225 gallons per day, okay? We have a resolution that's going to come up later on, which is 2019-277, which uses 300 gallons per day. We need to be consistent. Is it 225 or is it 300?
But this isn't the same lateral main as the other one, is it? In the
No.
resolution?
What difference does it make? You're estimating gallons per day in
basi-
order to determine key money.
It's based on the size of the unit, whether they need 225 gallons a day or
So
300 gallons a day. A
we're measuring
single-family-
bedrooms?
No, if it's 1,200 square feet or less, it's 225 gallons a day. If it's 1,201 and more, it's 300 gallons a day.
Thank you.
I think it'd probably be bathrooms though, not the.
And that's
No,
straight out
it's the
from
square footage. I should've
Did anybody
known.
else want to address the board?
Or just nudge him.
Chris Kent from Farrell Fritz for the applicant. Just wanted to make one correction on the key money, because I have the report here that was prepared by H2M dated February 2019. The key money is $9.10 per gallon times 4,725 gallons. It should be $42,997.50 instead of the amount that was stated during the public hearing by H2M.
I'm sorry, 42,000,
$997.50.
So they have
Okay.
4,725 plus 1,350 is 6,075 gallons a day at $9.10 a gallon.
we're, we will, yes, please, to address the other 1,350.
Yeah, that's right.
Correct. There's 6 model units that would account for the additional flow that you mentioned, Jody.
Okay.
And the flow I mentioned was 21 units that were to be built on the remaining site.
Okay, so the total is,
key
for the
mo-
new units is the 4,725, and the additional units that were never assessed the key money is the additional 1,350,
Correct.
The model units.
the model units.
Pay up, or you don't get any water.
Was the key money ever paid on the model units? Well, back then.
The model units are already connected to the district and have already been issued certificates of
Well,
occupancy.
since I
so-
think this is
Should
a
check it.
discrepancy that we need to go back and check, so what we will do is, we can adjourn the public hearing and leave it open for written comment, if that would be okay, or do you want it to stay open for public comment?
Yes. The term model units is incorrect. There were model units until this time. There was some that-
I think there's a discrepancy here that we're not going to be able to answer because we don't have that documentation in front of us.
But we'd be amenable to closing the public hearing
Hearing,
and
we'll
leaving it
leave it
open
open for
for
written
public
comment
comment.
for-
Yeah, for written comments, yes.
Will 10 days be enough for you to settle this issue?
Yes, we'll settle the issue in the next
Okay.
10 days through written correspondence.
Okay, so we will close this portion and close the public comment portion, leave it open for written comment until April 26th.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else from the public that wanted to comment on this?
No, you close it.
Oh, yeah, what am I doing? Sorry.
That's officially closed.
Hold it to yourself, we close it.
All right, never mind. All right, so we'll move on to the last of our public hearings. We're supposed to begin at 6:25. It is now 6:50. The consideration of amendment to Chapter 301 of the Riverhead Town Code entitled Zoning and Land Development, Article 42, Transfer of Development Rights. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank
Good for
you.
you.
Bob, do you want to
Sure.
address this?
This last public hearing is the last part of bringing the TDR ordinance back up to full speed after the case that was Calverton Manor, which caused us to take a look at our TDR ordinance. Last year, I think in the middle of summer, we held a public hearing to address the TDR ordinance that had been found to be invalid by the court at the appellate division, and that was the 2005 adoptions. And at the time, we repealed the current code and held a public hearing on the 2005 TDR legislation that had been found defective by the appellate division solely because of the failure to refer it to the Suffolk County Planning Commission. So we picked it up and took that legislation forward. These two particular pieces were part of a later adoption. They were in the code, but as part of that repeal and replace, they were taken out as well. The first is at 301-208. This was a change which allowed an individual to swap out or utilize, I guess for lack of a better way of describing it, Pine Barrens credits in lieu of transfer of development rights credits. It would not result in an additional yield, What happened was there, we found that in certain instances, applicants had been able to improve their development from 1 to 4 units per acre, but because of the size of the units, they had to purchase Pine Barrens credits, and there was a decision made under the old legislation that in those instances, those Pine Barren credits could be used instead. The change to 301-210, again, was on the books. It's been something that the town has used in approving site plans. And basically what it states is that where someone has purchased TDR credits, where suitable, the agency that's reviewing the site plan, if it's a town board site plan application or planning board site plan application, it would be permissible for those particular bodies to waive strict adherence to setbacks, parking requirements, and that would be pursuant to the standards set forth in 267B of the town law, similar to what the zoning board would usually require. So it would obviate the need to go to zoning board. So it's 2 changes. The one is to 208, which would allow for the, diminishment of TDR credits where there's Pine Barren credits which have been purchased, and the other one would be to allow for the town board or the planning board to grant relief to an applicant where they've purchased TDRs.
And where did these recommendations come from? Because I know this came to us at work session a couple of weeks ago, and then we had we're scheduling it for the public hearing, so.
Yeah, what happened was there were some applications that were coming from the planning board where they realized they had utilized the, specifically 301-210, and when they went to look at the code, they realized it had been taken out as part of the Calverton Manor repeal and replace. So we went back to the old hearing, which was from, I think it was 2014,
I think it was.
and we re-adopted or republished and posted the changes that had been done back then. Yeah, it was September of 2014 was when we held the public hearing to make these code changes to what are found now in 301-208 and found in 301-210 proposals.
So they're the same as what they were in 2014?
Correct.
And was anything built under that code at that time, from when the code change happened?
I'm not aware of
so.
whether there were. I think what happened was there were some applications pending, but I'm not sure if it was actually utilized.
No.
I don't think
There was one on Middle Road, I think, for that.
There might have been one project, yeah.
I don't think it got built.
No, okay.
And frankly, I'm not in favor of putting this back in again. I think it usurps our TDR program, which should come first. I don't really even understand why it was put in the first place in 2014.
Well, as I indicated, there was an applicant who came in, he approached the town board, I think his counsel had asked the town board to consider the change. He had discovered that during the building process, again, I don't know the numbers, while building out his particular units, because of the size that were marketable, whatever, that the density, the sanitary flows were such that he had to purchase Pine Barrens credits in addition to TDR credits. And he made a pitch to that town board that it was onerous to do both. And he asked the town board
I absolutely agree with
and he asked the town board to consider allowing the use of Pine Barren credits in those cases to be utilized instead of TDR credits.
Yeah, and I think
But
that.
our priority and focus should be on our TDR program.
Right,
Well,
but
true.
the alternative was that if you were entitled to build one and it was gonna cost you $100,000 for a Pine Barrens credit and $65,000 for a TDR, that the additional units would never get built, because the units, after the construction and everything, you weren't gonna pay $165,000 more. But in discussions with the farm community, I think that it's apparent that as the smaller units get built, that there should be a balance between the Pine Barrens credits and the TDR, so that both are being utilized for any given project. So I think it needs to go back to the drawing board, and I think that the farm community needs to be participants and at the table for discussion.
Well, I can tell you, that was a
Well, they're
bargain
here
for
tonight.
that was a bargain for disposition on one particular project where we did split the baby down the middle. everybody knows when you're gonna build something, everybody's got their hand out. And I just think that this is two hands out for two very, very noble causes. One is to transfer development rights for our farmers, the other is Pine Barren credits for our drinking water infrastructure. They're both very noble efforts. I'm not gonna say the one's more important than the other. I think they're both very important. But if there was some way to do this where we could, everybody could be satisfied, where I guess we have to work with the Pine Barren Commission, where that's an object that's gonna come into development, that they could be split down.
But I believe the Pine Barrens credits were needed because of the increased density.
It's for the
Well,
sanitary flow.
For the
Right,
sanitary
but
flow. So
because
there
of
weren't
due to the
there
increased
weren't additional
density.
units, it was just because of the size of the units.
Right, so otherwise, if they were to buy both the Pine Barrens credit and a TDR, chances are those additional units would not get built. But I think that there, a balance can be struck.
Condo worth $400,000.
But we're trying to, the whole idea of the TDR program was that we were trying to control density and preserve our farmland. Now with this back in again, it's allowing for more density.
But the TDR, I think that the TDR program, and I think that once we go through the review of the master plan, I think that we get more sending areas, more receiving areas, and that those receiving areas land in districts that are sewered so that the Pine Barrens credits aren't needed at all. But again, it's a discussion that has to take place with the TDR committee.
And I think this was in a place that, in order to build, they did need to be connected to the sewer originally. And
Right.
I don't know why that was taken out, and instead of that, they were then just given the ability to buy Pine Barrens credits instead of having to hook up to the sewer, and then they were allowed the additional units without getting the additional TDRs. But I'm gonna
no
let if
sewer
somebody from the
available.
committee, if anybody from the community wanted to come up and address the public hearing, or Jeff, would you like to come up?
I understand that there's some questions about 301-208D, which is what we're just deliberating on. The one section of code I want to talk about is 301-210, Commercial Site Plan Administration. That one's critically important to how the planning board functions with review of site plan applications. And if there is any questions about subsection D, but there's support of subsection A under section 210, and this is a question for Bob to answer, I'd ask that we split those two code sections, and let's go ahead and proceed with the commercial site plan administration portion of it, and then we can adjourn or table the effort on the preservation credits until we get that resolved.
I don't, because they were noticed as one public hearing, can you split that? You would have to renotice to split them out?
We'd have to strike 301-208 and just adopt it with 301-210.
I'd like to research the issue a little bit. Our sense in the office is that we probably can just do the one and put the other one aside, but I'd like to do some further research to see whether a lesser included amount, so long as it's not changing the substance of the code change, can be adopted, so.
That's fair enough.
All right, so we will, anybody else like to comment on this public hearing?
Sure. Rob Carpenter, here as Long Island Farm Bureau Administrative Director. So as this is written, section 301-208, at the moment, the farm community is opposed to this one because of the sensitivity with the TDR program and the lack of available credits that are being utilized for projects. We are in support of 301-210 because we understand that's a mechanism, to my understanding, for decisions to be made. Part of the reason I think that I would like to suggest where we go forward with this regarding section 208 is you have the revitalized TDR committee that is currently studying the program, and I think that before any of this code gets adopted or discussed, it should go to the TDR committee and the Ag Advisory Committee for a complete review and discussion with the farm community, so that they're fully understanding of what's going on and has the ability to make suggestions or comment on this before it gets reauthorized. So,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Richard Wines, and I'm a member of Riverhead's Farmland Select Committee, as well as co-chair of the subcommittee that's charged by all of you with enhancing the ability of our transfer development rights program to preserve farmland. And I'm a bit confused by this. First of all, I've been a member of the Farmland Select Committee for over a decade, and I think it was snuck into the code in 2014. I don't think either the Farmland Committee or the Ag Advisory Committee was consulted when that happened, which of course wasn't right then, and I don't think we should re-sneak it into the code now. I'm also confused by it because it says it does something we obviously don't want to do, which reduces the need to use the transfer of development rights programs to preserve farmland here. But then later, it basically says that retirement communities have to connect to the sewer system, so you wouldn't need the Pine Barrens credits anyway. So it doesn't seem to make any sense to me why we're wanting to do that. I think a much better idea here would be to totally review the retirement community code, which I hope will happen in the master plan rewrite, and it should be a priority. And instead of allowing it to use as much land as possible out in distant parts of the town, to try to bring it to 58 where there's already a sewer system, where it could be done in a denser way and could be used as a way of using development rights off of farmland. So I think that would be a much better thing to do than readopting this. As far as the second part, I agree with Rob that we want to have flexibility. I would like to hear an opinion, though, from our town attorney, just to make sure that that flexibility would not allow the planning board to reduce the number of TDRs that are used.
Does the other section,
Yes.
210 has nothing to do with that?
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, not seeing anybody else, and Bob, I'm gonna ask for your recommendation on this. If the board would like, if we would like to send this back to the TDR and the Ag
Absolutely.
Advisory for review, how do I do with the public hearing at this?
Well, I would close it.
Okay.
Leave it open for written comment, and then what I'll do
We'll
is
send it
I'll
back to
research on the issue of whether we can do a separate, adopt solely for 210.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so at this
So I
time,
think what I'm hearing is that there's probably a desire to move forward with 210, but not with 301
Yeah,
and
it needs to be
208.
reviewed. We'll
I mean,
deal
301
with this next year.
so.
okay, so what I will do is close the public hearing. I will leave it open for written comment for 10 days, and it's the advice of the board to send this, the 301, 208 back to the Committee for Ag Advisory and TDR for their opinion on this.
Okay.
All right?
Fair
I
enough.
would think that they would have seen it, but I'm surprised that they weren't
Well-
notified of this.
Well, I think what happened
see it
that
now.
this was on the books as well as some other things. I think when this came through as a resolution, there was a public hearing for it. I think there was some concern about it, and we're hearing that concern, and we're sending it back to the committees at this point.
This was addressed a long time ago.
This has been on the books since 2014, right?
Yeah, 5 years, I think it was addressed after that whole mishmash with last phase of Stony Ones, I think.
All right, at this time, I ask anybody who has a comment on resolutions to please come forward.
Hi, honey.
Hi, Connie Lissandro. I am the consultant for Georgica Green Ventures, which is Riverview Lofts in downtown Riverhead. I refer to Resolution 2019-295. We would like it amended. There's some errors. Paragraph number 6, where it says the brick.
In the whereas?
Whereas, the brick shall be wire cut. It is not wire cut, it's referred to as velour. And just for clarification, I know you all saw both colors, and the velour was the red, the wire cut was the lighter color, and it was almost like cement. It is very rough. Both bricks will be velour. It will not be the wire cut, because they're gonna match. You don't want one velour and one that's gonna be in contrast to it.
I took pictures of the samples that you had on the table that day and
Right,
sent it.
the salesman sent us the wire cut, but it is velour. It is not the
So the texture of the
The
red brick,
texture
the
is, it's
texture of
still
the red
textured,
brick
it's
that
still
we-
textured, yes.
is the texture that the red brick is called velour.
Absolutely.
And the texture of the lighter color brick, which we saw was the wire cut one, but it will be the velour.
They'll both be velour.
What is this velour finish, though? We've never seen it.
Yes,
Yes,
you
it's
did,
the
you
red
saw
brick.
it in the red,
No,
Jody.
the red was velour.
It's the
it's
old,
wire
what was
cut but
originally?
smooth.
No.
Is the best
The
way to.
original was smooth,
Right, the original was just smooth with no wire cut.
correct,
What you brought in next was wire cut, but a smooth finish.
correct,
It wasn't rough like the whiter one was, the lighter colored one was.
right. And I'm only addressing this because our site plan amendment was for the windows only, but this resolution goes into great detail about the bricks. We'll go along with it, but it has to be changed to the velour. So in paragraph 6 and 7, the wire cut has to be changed. On paragraph 10, where it says whereas the wire cut needs to be changed to velour,
I'm sorry, which was that?
it would be on, it's paragraph 7, it says,
So it's six.
per sample boards, 505 monument is wire cut, it has to be velour.
All right, Connie, so number 6, the sixth whereas, the 7th whereas, and there was one. we just-
10.
Okay.
6, 7, and 10?
Right,
So
and then
enough-
if you go to, the resolve, which
So
becomes
just let
number
me-
16.
The 10th whereas, is wire cut, it should be velour.
Mm-hmm, correct.
And you're
And-
saying the velour is what we saw that day?
Yes, it's the red. And
Okay.
if you wanna see it again, it's still in the car.
It's interesting because, I mean, I like the velour better than the smooth, but I remember noting that day how much I liked the wire cut in the light, in the gray.
Yeah,
Because
but if you
actually
felt
it
it,
was wire cut.
but if you feel it, it's like
The other
cement.
ones.
Yeah, you
Right.
can't, you can't.
Okay.
So everywhere it's saying wire
And
cut
then
is
in
velour?
resolve, which
I
is
have
number
6 then.
16, number 4, it has to be changed there as well, wire cut.
I'm sorry, so
Number
in,
4.
It's a result.
in the second resolve,
In the second resolve, which is number 16, number 4, it says 505 monument as wire cut needs to be changed to velour texture.
So there are 1, 2,
How did this get messed up?
I don't know.
I see, is it 4 times?
Glad you caught this, Connie.
And then number 9, just for the record, I spoke with Mr. Gallo, and he's willing to accept this change where it says the EFS exterior finish insulation system mural area on the western elevation shall be covered in stucco and painted in a color matching the Metro brick number 320 schoolhouse red faced brick veneer. So that will be painted, and I know many
I'm
of
sorry,
you.
which number is that?
Number
one?
9.
Number 9.
Okay, I don't have.
He
I
will
must
go,
have-
he
okay.
said he will accept those, you know, like I said, these are things that are being addressed in this resolution that were not part of our site plan and not in, compliance with the Mylar that was signed.
Can I use this one today?
And
Are you
just,
saying that the mural is out? That
no, it is
instead-
in,
Oh,
it's
But it's gonna
stained.
be the color red.
And that stain, and that mural is based upon a memorandum dated April 17th, 2017, to the town board, to David Gallo, and to myself, from the ARB and the Landmarks Preservation Committee, that, and I quote, it says, "On the 5-story section of the north and south ends of the west facade, which is likely to ultimately be hidden by future construction, consider some sort of mural or painted facade to prevent this from being an eyesore while the parcel to the west is vacant." That's how the mural came to be.
What is that date of that?
April 7th, 2017.
I'd like to see
And it's
that.
been, and it was on every elevation thereafter.
Is that the ARB or Landmarks?
Both,
Both.
from both of them.
I do have the, absent what Connie was talking about with velour versus cut brick, I do have the change with issue number 9, so if you'd like to have that.
Yes, if Diane, you could just, yeah.
Well,
Other than that,
we
I
certainly
hope
don't want
we're
this
good
to
to
be
go.
contrary to what, there you go.
Only a few more trips at.
All right, I'm just gonna correct, I just wanna
Trips to the
check
car.
everything.
Okay.
So in the sixth whereas, it's
Right.
changing wire cut to velour. The 7th whereas, changing wire cut to velour. The 10th whereas, changing wire cut to velour. The resolve number 4, change the wire cut to velour. And number 9, we are not changing at all from the amendment we are being handed, where ephes mural area on the western elevation shall be covered in stucco and painted in a color matching the Metro Brick number 320 schoolhouse red face brick veneer, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. And when I get the sample of the the corrected monument, I'll be more than glad to bring them in to show you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the corrected one?
Yes.
That is correctly one absent the comments that Connie just made.
Wow, you spit that out pretty good. Wonder that
All
goes.
right, is there anybody else that would like to come up and comment on resolutions? Seeing nobody, we will move on to resolutions.
Hold on, I gotta get back to resolution.
Right, me too.
Resolution.
Okay, resolution 270.
270 appoints a temporary, full-time groundskeeper 1 to the Building and Grounds Division of the Town Engineers Department. So moved. Gail?
A second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
And welcome aboard, Danny McMillan. I vote yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yep.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 271.
Accepts Highway Superintendent's personnel report and request for town board resolution to effectuate personnel change. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 272.
Appoints a temporary student intern 2. So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 273.
Appoints a call-in recreation aide to the Recreation Department. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution
Oh, I love
adopted.
that girl, Abigail.
Resolution 274.
Ratifies the appointment of a temporary office assistant. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Who we hiring?
Yes, and congratulations to Judy on her retirement as she moves forward. We'll miss her.
Resolution adopted.
This is receiving taxes.
It's the retirement, right? That
Well, no.
Was I jumped ahead? Oh, I jumped ahead, sorry.
That's out of the bag.
All right, next one, sorry.
So you can edit that out and throw it on the
All
next
right.
one.
Resolution 275.
Accepts the retirement
I'm
of the
ahead of the
Senior
game here.
Citizens Program Director. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
And I wish Judy very well. It's been an honor working with Judy, and I hope she enjoys retirement. I vote yes.
Hubbard.
I thank Judy for all her years of service. God, going way back when I was working in my younger days with the police department, she was here, and she's done a great job for the town over the years, and she really took the senior center and made it something. I mean, it's going back to the early days when it was kind of piecemeal hodgepodge. We'd have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, once a month, and then when we got the property down there, and this is before my time, but on the board, but she took it, and there's an awful lot of happy seniors that go down there to that building, and they get out and they have a meal and they interact, and it's a successful program, and I appreciate everything she did, and Judy, I wish you the best in your retirement. Sad to see you go.
Giglio.
Yes, best in Judy's retirement, and I agree with Tim. There'll be a lot of sad seniors walking around the senior center. We've got to get somebody else in there who's as energetic and cares as much about our seniors as Judy did. So, best of luck to you, Judy. Yes.
Wooten.
Yes, best of luck to you, Judy, and it's nice that you go from the office and now you come down and sit and have a meal with people. It's a nice segue into, I guess we're all getting older, but you deserve to be very happy in retirement, so I vote yes.
So funny.
Jen Smith.
Yes, and as I said, congratulations on your retirement. You certainly will be missed. So it's fun down there. I mean, they serve a couple hundred meals a day. I think there's a lot of activity going on down there, and I think a lot of that is Judy is to be credited with. So thank you for everything you've done.
I don't know if you can imagine how many people come to the luncheons there. There's several hundred people there.
Yeah.
And it's a big hit, and I'm looking forward to seeing Jim there.
It's not even a luncheons. I'm there a lot, but it's not even a luncheons. They have like Zumba, which is really fun to watch. They got Wii bowling. They got so many activities there. You can spend the whole day there. Really.
Okay.
You can really enjoy it.
So let me just say, resolution adopted.
There you go, thank you.
Resolution 276.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post public notice to consider a local law to amend Chapter 105, Chapter 217, and Chapter 301, entitled Boards, Commissions, and Councils, Building, Building Construction, and Improvements in Housing Standards, and Zoning and Land Development of the Riverhead Town Code. So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded. Bob, do you just want to address what this is, because it sounds very confusing?
Well, it kind of is, because when we reposition stuff in the code, we move things around a little bit. But very simply, in 2005, there was a decision made to add a provision to the code entitled Electronic Records Retention Fees, and it was in a number of different places. We've never had an adopted electronic records retention fee since 2005. There's never been any money accepted. When we looked at this in code revision, we said it doesn't make a lot of sense having something on the books that we have not used in 13 years. So this is to remove that provision. Sometime in the future, maybe when we're all computerized and ready to go, we'll revisit it.
Very good.
So
So this is for the
So
public
this is
hearing.
just to hold the public hearing.
notice to repeal it?
Yep. Yep.
But I just want to make sure people understand what it is, so that
Anytime
it's
you
not.
repeal a fee, I like it.
Yeah. So that was moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes, for
Jen-
public hearing.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 277.
Order calling for public hearing regarding lateral water main extension for G&Z Retirement Community on Middle Road. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 278.
This amends Resolution 198 of 2019, which approves Chapter 255 application of Long Island Moose Classic Car Club. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Vote, please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 279.
Amends resolution number 794 of 2014. And this is, what is this? Salaries? Fringe
This
benefits or
is,
other terms?
Meg Ferris, who has been under the attorney's office, will now come under the supervisor's office.
Well, I don't
So
agree with that.
This was a discussion that was, well, it's been in here since Thursday. So this was a discussion that we had with the town attorney's office, and that she has been, most of the work is reporting over to our office, same as we have Mary Antique for purchasing, reporting off to our office. It was something that we had discussed with Meg that she was interested.
Oh.
We had something we had discussed with Bob that he was interested in.
And I discussed it with Bob when I found out about it, and also with Jim and Tim, because I don't like the fact that the supervisor's office does not report to us, but our department head, Bob, does. So I would like to know about all personnel matters that are coming to the town from the town attorney, and not have to hear it from the supervisor.
Well,
And-
Meg
they're-
Punk puts her
No. She needs-
resolutions in, they don't go through. Bob, do the resolutions come through your office now for personnel?
I do not review her personnel
She-
resolutions.
it needs-
I don't review Laura's for my favorite subject, 255, so. But I, you know, she does, you know, when there's personnel issues, she does from time to time, you know, make me aware of things going on.
But is that generally for legal advice, or is that as a department head, as a department
both.
supervisor?
Matter.
Both.
All of our
Both.
department heads are, I mean, all of our employees have a department head, and the supervisor's office is not a department head.
Well,
So-
purchasing is also under the supervisor's office.
Well, Tim and I both serve on the personnel committee, so we're active in that. And, I don't know, for me, it makes sense to have personnel under the supervisor's office and not with, I don't know why it was with the town attorney's office. Doesn't make sense.
I'm not sure of but do you know why it ended up under the town attorney's office?
It was originally under the accounting office, under the accounting department head.
seems like it should go with the supervisor's office. It
No.
makes sense.
And it was just, I could just generically say it was part of a decision made, I think it was in 2015 and 2014, to reassign her as well as Gene Molosky, because Gene Molosky is also an employee within the personnel division to my
Half and half.
office. Yeah, so she's half. I, you know.
And we also moved Meg's office into Town Hall.
That's
right,
correct.
Right next to your office, which is where Mary Ann is now. So that's why we put it under the town attorney. I think that employees need to report to a department head who's accountable to the town board, not to the supervisor who's not accountable to the town board.
It makes sense to go under the supervisor's office, and a vote shouldn't be done because of personal reasons, or who's in the supervisor's office at this time. It should be done for all the right reasons.
Right, that's why
It
I
makes
voted
sense.
to put her under a department head back in 2015, when, instead of putting it under the supervisor. So it doesn't matter whether, who's in the supervisor's office.
I don't know why it has to go under a department head. I mean, it just seems kind of random to
Well,
be putting it like that.
You tend to
That's
say
my
that a
opinion.
lot. It has nothing to do with who's in the supervisor's office. We put her under Bob when there was somebody else in the supervisor's office. So it has nothing to do with that. It's apples and oranges.
Well, I think also for the functioning of town hall, Meg does do a lot of stuff that is involved with the office as far as personnel goes. It seemed to make more sense than reporting off to the attorney's office for ease of flow of the town. Any personnel resolutions come before the town board. There is no hiring. There is no anything without a resolution that comes before the town board, which the town board can comment on. There is a personnel department that interviews all of the people prior to coming if there's a job available. So there's nothing that comes through the supervisor's office that is not done by resolution as far as personnel goes.
I don't want her under May, so I'm ready to vote.
And the personnel group is a large group. I mean, the last hiring, Tim, we have like 8 people there, I think.
Whatever.
What are you talking about?
When we are interviewing
When we interview people for
Well, depends what.
employment.
Right, depends what.
Depends what the
Unless it's highway
position
department,
is
then
and-
nobody's there.
right.
Right.
And the employee is also, is interested in switching departments, so.
I spoke with her, and I don't know where you're getting, maybe she's telling us 2 different things, but
I guess she would be.
I guess she would be.
It's not the first time.
All right, so where are we at, Diane?
Well,
I'm
we
not sure
haven't
what's moved
taken
and
a.
seconded.
Yeah, I think
We
we got
first
it.
we motion and second it.
Okay.
We're ready for the vote.
So I have a first, and Tim, did you second it?
I didn't. Seconded.
I did.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
No, I want some more time to look into this. For some reason, this is the first time hearing about
Me
this.
too.
Do you want to
So-
table it then? Is that instead of voting
Yeah,
on it?
that would be fine.
Okay,
That would be
Yeah,
fine.
I
with
So
me.
think
if
that's
we're-
probably more prudent.
so if we're in the middle of a vote, Bob, or do we need to,
We've done this
If they're
before.
Let's back
amenable,
up.
I mean, let's make a motion to table.
all right, can I have a first and second to table the amends resolution number 794 of 2014?
I move we table the resolution.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Can I have some more in it?
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes, to table.
Giglio,
Yes, the table.
Wooten,
Okay.
oh, that's
Yes,
not on,
yes,
that's
to
not a choice. Jen Smith,
Yes.
the resolution has been tabled. Resolution 280,
Is that me?
Assigned fund balance in the general fund, so moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 280,
You mean 281.
281.
I'm sorry, 281.
780 Old Country Road, project number 81854, closure. So moved.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 282,
This is authorizing the issuance of an additional $3,004,188 in bonds of the town of Riverhead, Suffolk County, New York, to pay part of the cost of the increase and improvement of the facilities of Calverton Sewer District in and for said towns. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
I'm gonna have to vote no at this time until I know the certainty of the sale of EPCAL and whether or not we need to expand the sewer district, because I can't see putting $10 million of cost on 8 businesses at EPCAL. I'm gonna vote no for now.
Wooten.
I'm gonna vote yes, because this is something that has to be done just for our estuary, if nothing less, so yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 283.
Public interest order, Calverton Sewer District upgrade, so moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
This is the same thing, right?
Yes, it is. It comes in
vote.
parts, so you have to do 3
No.
parts.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 284.
Sergeant's Recreational Center Sewer Extension, Capital Improvement Project number 81902, budget adoption. So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 285.
Authorizes the town clerk to publish and post the attached notice to bidders for fire and security alarm contract. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 286.
286 awards bids for sewage treatment plant upgrade and force main recharge bed construction for contracts G, P, E, and S at the Calverton Sewer District. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
This is another piece of that, right, Michael? No.
Do you need information? Would you like?
I think it's the same part of it, right, Michael?
Could you just come up and address the question?
I vote yes, so it's already approved.
Yeah, it is, so it's okay.
But you don't want to have the question answered? Because you didn't vote yet, right?
I think I did.
Jody voted.
Oh, you did?
Voted no.
She did, yeah. She said no.
They just answered the bid specs.
It's okay. It's all part of the same $10 million project, right? This sewage treatment plant upgrade and force main recharge bed construction contracts, GPE and S, Calverton Sewer District, right?
Yes, this
Thank you.
awards the
It's
bid.
just awarding the bids.
Yes.
It's not an expenditure of money, it's just the awarding of the bids?
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Wooten.
I said yes already.
Okay.
Twice.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 287.
Awards bid for used steel flatbed tow truck, so moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
How much?
That's just awarding the bid. It's not been done yet.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 288.
Awards bid for disposal and recycling of municipal solid waste. So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 289.
Awards bid for exterior signage services for the town of Riverhead. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 290.
This ratifies and approves the Chapter 255 application of Home Depot Development of Maryland Incorporated for their Plants, Annuals, Trees, and Bush Sale, April 16th through May 31st, 2019. So moved.
If it's okay, Jim, do you want to take all of the 255s together? That would be resolution 290 through resolution,
Oh, good Lord.
293.
Sure.
What about, 94 is ratified.
Well, actually, right,
Yeah.
all right.
94s are ratified, so that.
290 is Home Depot for the Bush Sale. 291 is the application for Animal Rescue Fund of the Hamptons for the ARF Spring Fling Animal Adoption event, April 27th. 292 is the 255 East at Arts for their 23rd annual street mosaic street painting on Sunday, May 26th. And 293 approves the 255 application of Zamora Entertainment for their Mexican live bull riding rodeo and concert. That's gonna be a blast. Sunday, April 21st. That's like real soon.
That's Easter Sunday.
That's Easter Sunday.
Go ride a bull.
Sounds like a lot of bull.
Sounds
Okay,
like a
so
lot of
moved
bull.
on all those.
Can I get a second from somebody?
There was another one too.
Seconded?
That has to go. Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
That one's a red.
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio,
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolutions 290 through 293 are adopted.
I gotta know where this bull riding thing is on Easter Sunday. I gotta, where is this at?
It's at the sports
Calverton.
complex.
It's at Calverton
Calverton.
Sports Complex.
Calverton Links.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
my
is the right
word.
date.
Really?
Okay, resolution 294.
This is back to you, Jim.
Me again?
Yep.
Oh, my word, I'm tired. Need more water. Ratifies the approval of the Chapter 255 application at Chicken Kids Incorporated for the Children's Retail Consignment Event, April 3rd, 2019 through April 7th, 2019. I hope we approve it because it's already over. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten,
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes, and I have to say, Diane, thank you very much to your office to being able to get that done and completed.
Yes.
It was really appreciated.
You're welcome.
Diane, we put you through the ringer, but I really appreciate it.
That's okay.
It was the right thing to do.
Okay, thank you. Resolution adopted. Resolution 295.
Assumes lead agency, issues negative declaration, and approves an amendment to the final site plan for Riverview Lofts, Riverhead Apartments LLC for building elevation changes at 221 East Main Street and 31 McDermott Avenues, Suffolk County Tax Map number 600, 129, 1, 21, and 22, as amended for paragraphs 6 and 7 and 10, and 4, from the wire cut to velour cut, and also amends resolve number 9 for the EFS to be the color red, the schoolhouse red, as the color of the bricks. Number 9, the EFS exterior finish insulation system mural area on the western elevation shall be covered in stucco and painted in a color matching the Metro Brick number 320 schoolhouse red face brick veneer. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded as amended, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
So, let me get this straight. Not that I care whether it's wire cut or velour, we're going with red.
Yes.
Yes.
After all that,
Yes.
it's gonna be red.
Yes.
Unless you wanna look at it one more time.
I just think it's a mistake, but that's all right, there's people a lot smarter than me. I sort of like the, no, I vote yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 296.
Authorizes appraisal report in the matter of the tax certiorari proceeding of Loudis of Calverton LLC versus Assessors of Riverhead. So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yeah, it's Leotis, sorry, not Loudis. Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
I just wanted to hear you say that certiorari again.
Oh, you know what?
I will
What
tell
is with
you that
today?
I
Come
wrote
on.
it down here phonetically.
It's not
I vote yes.
It's that in Roman numerals, I keep a little pad up here.
Use your
Good job,
eyes.
Tim.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 297.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute an agreement with G&G Technologies Incorporated regarding cablecast services. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 298.
298 authorizes the supervisor to execute a license agreement with Arrows Cultured Oyster Company to allow for the installation of floating upweller systems, Flupsy and East Creek. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yes.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 299.
Authorize supervisor to execute an memorandum of understanding with the Riverhead IDA. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent,
Yes.
Hubbard,
1 second.
This one is, we had
They're gonna match the money.
the grant for the TOD, the Transitory Development Grant that we got, and part of that was a match from the town. The match from the town is being leveraged with the IDA for a grant from National Grid, and the IDA is contributing some money towards the TOD grant. So it's
Okay. Thank you.
everybody helping each other out.
Yes.
Giglio.
Yes.
Wooten.
Yeah, I sit with the IDA, and it was First time they've done this, but it's a worthwhile effort. So,
Yep, I think this,
I vote yes.
Jen Smith?
yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 300.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute a contract with the County of Suffolk for a grant. So moved.
Seconded?
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes, this is for LED lighting down in the Jamesport Business District, so yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
Hope they're a hell of a lot brighter than those readers. Vote yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 301.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute a contract with the County of Suffolk. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
And this is for the wayfaring sign, wayfinding signs, which I'm excited about. Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes, I think we should all do a wave after this. This one we've been waiting for, so I'm very excited we have the sign bid in place, we have this contract in place now, and we can move forward with these much anticipated wayfaring signs, so I'm very happy to see that.
Amen to that.
Resolution adopted.
Thank you, Dawn Thomas.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Resolution 302.
We are,
Oh, yes,
302,
302 and
309.
303.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on to 304.
Terminates the employment of a senior justice court clerk. So moved.
Seconded?
moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
Boy, I'm caught off guard with this. How was this whole conversation? Over a year. Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
The resolution adopted. Resolution 305.
Appoints an interim senior citizens program director. So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
And I know Kelly will do a good job. I vote yes.
Hubbard?
Yes, absolutely. Kelly's been hands-on down there and does a good job.
Giglio?
Yes. Good luck, Kelly.
Wooten?
Yes, she'll be very good touchy with the, very good touch on there.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 306.
Jim, are you gonna take this act on the road when
It's just, you know what?
She may not be,
You know what it is, these 6 o'clock meetings, you know, anybody with type 2 diabetes, 6 o'clock meeting right at dinner time, and then,
I said something about the 6
All
o'clock
right,
meeting, Jim, and you.
this resolution pays the bills, so moved.
Yeah, me too. Second.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
Yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 307.
Authorizes Lawrence M. Levy, DBA On-Site Productions, non-protunct, to provide additional cablecast production services regarding the Town of Riverhead State of the Town address at Riverhead Town Hall on April 8th, 2019, and contractual payment for services rendered. So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, vote please.
Kent?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Giglio?
Yes.
Wooten?
How much did it cost us? I vote yes.
Jen Smith?
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
Okay, that's all of our resolutions. Before we move to comments from the public, I know at our work session, our special town board meeting the other day, we had said that we would talk about the possibility of hiring outside counsel to look at the EPCAL Grumman contract. And I was just wondering if the board would like to discuss it. It would be a CDA resolution, but it would be, we'd have to do it, since there's not a meeting scheduled, so the question is to the board, is that something we would like to consider? To come and look at the contract in light of the recent revelations that we've all seen in the paper regarding Illuminati?
I think it's a good idea.
That's a yes for me.
Okay.
Yeah, so I haven't talked to Frank about it, but.
Yeah, we can have it, we can speak to him about it, or feel free to give him a call about it.
Right, yeah, I'll call Frank.
Yep. Okay, so we would have to do that as part of a
We're gonna have
CDA
lawyers looking at it.
meeting, so I am
Wanna mess
going,
up
we
the
don't have to
lawyer.
do that. Diane, I see you.
I'm like wondering what.
So I think what we can do is to be early next week. We can schedule a CDA meeting, so we have what do we need, 72 hours?
Yeah, it has to be
So
posted.
we can post it and then schedule the meeting and then move forward with that resolution.
So that would be next, not this Thursday, but the following Thursday for work session, we'd have a special town board meeting?
No,
Not town board meeting.
no, where are
To
we?
adopt the resolution to hire the outside
CDA.
counsel.
CDA.
Or
Special
CDA.
CDA.
Right, so we have, where are we now? So for
My schedule's booked next week.
the 25th, we could do.
What day is that?
That, yes, so it's what you said, not this.
Thursday?
Not 2 days from now, but the following Thursday.
Good.
Where we could schedule a special CDA meeting at that meeting and move that resolution.
With the
forward.
work session.
At the work, yeah, in conjunction with the work session.
Okay, yeah.
Is that okay with
Yes.
everybody?
25th?
Yeah, that's fine.
25th, correct.
Okay.
Good.
All right, very good.
Dr. Brooks at 8:30, work session at 10. Okay, good.
All right, at this time, I open up the town board meeting to any residents who would like to comment.
Move to adjourn.
Mr. Dessert?
Painted my living room and put crown mold out, so working up overhead.
Hi.
Hi,
Just trying to see, send me a piece of paper.
good evening. Rex Farr, Calverton, coordinator for the coalition. What did you guys just talk about the hiring of the...
We'd like to, at the last meeting that we had said that we would discuss about hiring outside counsel to review the contract of sale for EPCAL in light of recent articles that have been in the paper about Illuminati, and so that, but we have to do it by resolution, so that we'll take that resolution up on April 25th.
Okay, so the outside counsel to retrieve monies?
No, the outside counsel to review the contract for the
Beautiful.
sale of EPCAL.
I don't know why I'm here tonight. I didn't know that happened. Great. Well, anyway, let me begin. Good evening again. Every member of the town board is faced with an important decision about the legitimacy of the contract with Calverton Aviation and Technology. As the News Review editorial of April the 5th said, Riverhead Town is poised to sell its most prized land in exchange for a bridge to nowhere. The discussion around the deal should shift to the company's character and the town board's ability to represent the interest of the biggest landowner of all at EPCAL, the people of Riverhead. We appreciate the decision at the special board meeting on Thursday to employ outside counsel to obtain $60,000 in past due runway rent, false alarm fees, real property taxes. In addition to the runway use agreement with Illuminati, Aerospace LLC should be immediately canceled. However, this is only the tip of the iceberg. Illuminati has removed itself and been removed from EPCAL and from Riverhead, and in effect can no longer be considered a constituent part of Calverton Aviation and Technology. So I'm delighted to hear that you are thinking about hiring outside counsel to reevaluate the contract.
You can lift that microphone up.
I'm sorry, what?
You can lift the microphone up a little bit.
You're the only one that's ever asked me to use a mic when I speak.
Well,
Normally, I'm told to tone it down.
no, that's at the end of it.
You really want me to do this?
Well, you're doing a sit squat. I mean, you're talking about fidgetiness.
Well, I'm just, I'm always nervous talking in front of you, Jimmy. Okay, here we go. Anyway, so I'd like to read from one of the members of the coalition a letter that I'm going to submit. This is from Dick Amper and the Long Island Pine Barrens. I probably will be followed by other members of the coalition, and I'll let them introduce themselves, again, in support of outside counsel. The Long Island Pine Barrens Society has long been involved in a series of development projects proposed for the Enterprise Park at Calverton. Since 1994, when the site was transferred to the town of Riverhead, there have been calls for a theme park, sports park, airport, racetrack, to name just a few. However, none of these projects have been as carelessly proposed or sponsored than the Calverton Aviation and Technology proposal. Time and again, we have seen Illuminati Aerospace inability to be a trusted partner with the town in overseeing more than 1,600 acres of precious Pine Barrens land. The recent report of a $10 million lawsuit against Illuminati and the company's $60,000 debt to the town of Riverhead is just the latest tale in a disturbing series of stories about a developer that would potentially be entrusted with the largest development in town history, I might even add Suffolk County. Oversight is needed and the Pine Barrens Society joins our coalition members in calling for an outside counsel to obtain this payment, and that is owed to the town, and start a path towards greater supervision over this land deal. Enterprise Park is home to some of the most sensitive habitats and species, notably the endangered short-eared owl and tiger salamander on Long Island. The town of Riverhead can and must do in ensuring that the developers of this property are responsible in fulfilling their duties to the people and environment of the Riverhead town. There is too much at stake for the recklessness of that has been shown by the stakeholders of Calverton Aviation to be allowed to continue. Thank you very much for your support. Again, that was written by the Pine Barrens that I will submit. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rex.
Thank you for your time, Supervisor and members of the board. My name is Mark Hobner. I'm here as both a citizen of Riverhead and as Vice President of the North Fork Environmental Council, which represents about 3,000 voters and 12 civic associations from Calverton to Orient Point. If you'll please follow the logic of this situation with me for a moment and then consider what we're asking. As we all know, Daniel Preston and his dreams of creating a new aerospace industry has left the building. Not even his toolkit remains behind for anyone to pick up where he left off. What has been conceived as the Calverton Aviation Technology Company has absolutely no aviation or technology expertise any longer, leaving them with simply a very large piece of land in Calverton, no eternally airborne solar-powered drones, no amphibious aircraft, no vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, no plans, no jobs, no tax base. Completely without a state-of-the-art aerospace technology partner as their linchpin, the new owners, 555, are no longer qualified to remain in this deal. I'm asking if you are willing to engage disinterested and unentangled outside counsel to advise on invalidating the qualified and eligible hearing and to disputing the legality of all contracts in which Preston participated. And would the board request counsel to suggest the best legal means for achieving these goals? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, Phil Barbado. I'm here on behalf of the Riverhead Neighborhood Preservation Coalition and also as a citizen of the Riverhead town. The Riverhead Neighborhood Preservation Coalition advocates for the protection of residential areas, open spaces, and agricultural areas in order to preserve the quality of life and the rural atmosphere of our town. It is a coalition of the major civic associations in the town, including the Greater Jamesport Civic, Calverton Civic, Northville Beach Civic, and Sound Park Heights Civic. We applaud the board for deciding to review the legal situation with respect to the runway lease and the non-payment of fines on the part of Illuminati. However, we believe that a more thorough legal review is desperately needed. To begin with, the original letter of intent was between the town and Illuminati, or any wholly owned subsidiary of Illuminati. Then, T5 took over Illuminati and essentially sidelined that company. Our legal advisors said that was okay, and the contract to sell 1,643 Epcal acres was accepted at the very end of the previous administration. The contract itself appears to have been written by Illuminati's own attorney and provides very little protection for the town. Yet, our legal advisors said it was just fine for the town to agree to it. There are practically no guarantees of performance that the town can rely on in the future. None of the fancy promises presented during the Q&E hearing are backed up with guarantees in the contract. 3,940,700 square feet of industrial building and 5,530 new jobs. Sounds great, but if none of that materializes, the town has absolutely no recourse. T5 can sit on that indefinitely. In addition, the approval of the Q&E by a majority of this board was based on inadequately researched background information with regard to Illuminati's illegal activities, as we now know. The legal advice given to the town was to approve. Now we know that was wrong. The contract also requires the town to approve.
Phil, I just have to interrupt. There was, our council did not give us advice to approve or disapprove. That was a vote by the town board. I just want to clarify that portion.
Okay.
It was the town board that voted on it. It wasn't, the legal advice wasn't you have to vote yes or you have to vote no. It was up to the town board for each member to vote on.
The town board received no legal advice on that?
We certainly received legal advice on, as to the process, but the legal advice doesn't extend to which way to vote. That is up to each individual board member to vote their conscience when they vote on the proposal.
So was the town board given information on Illuminati's illegal activities that might have been influential in the vote?
No, we did not have the information that's come to light recently.
That's my only point.
Okay.
I don't think the legal
I just
advice
thought-
was
yeah.
vote yes or vote no.
Okay.
But
I
it
just
certainly
misunderstood what you said.
left out a big hole in the integrity of the main contractee.
Right. And also, your statement about the fact that they can sit on the property and do nothing is, they have an intended development plan with a build-out over a 5-year period that they presented to us in the qualified and eligible. So the fact that they would just own the land and not do anything is, I think, I need to say something about that, because the intended development says it's going to be aerospace, it's going to be the jobs, and it's going to be done within 5 years.
And what if it's not?
If it's not, then we sue them and we take the property back.
That doesn't sound too easy.
They have to follow the intended development plan, and they cannot change the intended development plan without coming back for another qualified and eligible.
They could be considered in breach of contract if
Yes.
they didn't complete that build-out. So it makes it easier to sue to get the land back.
I think these are questions we all have because Illuminati is also in the intended development plan, and I think that is
They're
the
not
reason for
they're not
having
entirely in
another
the
set of
driver's
eyes
seat.
look
You
at
guys see
everything, and I think that's what the board is supportive of doing, so.
It seems funny that the town would put itself in a situation where you would have to sue in order to make things
Well,
right,
we'll
instead
see
of
what
having the contract have some guarantees in it.
We'll see what the outside counsel says about the contract and whether or not we can do anything with it.
Just my humble opinion.
People can sue you for anything.
The contract also requires the town to approve a new subdivision for EPCAL property. Based on legal advice given to the planning board, there will be no environmental review required of this subdivision application, since it's just changing some lines on a map and there's no specific development yet proposed. But wait a minute, as you said, so the promised development and the new jobs was legally sufficient for the town to give away 1,643 precious acres, but it's not sufficient to require an environmental review for the EPCAL subdivision? How can both of these two opposite legal views be justified? The town needs a fresh, independent legal review before even considering closing this bad deal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Supervisor, members of the town board. My name is Bob DeLuca, and if I don't drop this mic.
Blame Rex.
Okay. And I serve as president of Group for the East End. The group represents the conservation and community planning interests of several thousand member households across the 5 East End towns. And we've been before you, I realize now, for not you, but this board over 23 years with this project one way or another. And like you, I'm probably as tired of it as all of you and hoping to get somewhere to the finish line. But there's a lot to unpack. And first, let me just say that obviously I share the concerns raised by my colleagues in the coalition here. But at the moment, and I think sometimes with this project, you can only look at like 10 minutes of it at the same time. What's most important is what this board has just said, which is it appears that you're going to proceed to go forward to get outside counsel to take a look at this. I think the public reporting on what's going on here in some ways reinforces the concerns that many of us have had and that maybe the board did or didn't know, whatever. But this is the concern that we all had, and for many years we had always wanted the town to take more control here. I'm not here to relitigate that, but I am here to just urge you forward earnestly and as quickly as you can to get that outside counsel in here, to look at that contract, to see what your rights are, to see what you have to pull back before you find yourself in a situation where you may have to litigate a developer of this size and scale to try to win back the interests of the public and what really is this great asset that the town has. So I thank you for proceeding with that. I urge you forward as quickly as you can, and I urge you to take into consideration everything that you've heard from all of the other folks here, residents of the town, who for many, many years have come to you and spent their time and energy to try to do what's best for this town, to save the critical resources on that property, and also to create a design that's consistent with the vision that was originally proposed for that property when it was transferred to the town. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're really giving me a lot of credit.
Perfect size for you.
Uh-oh. Good grief.
Smart.
How's that?
Yeah, it's good.
Good evening. So it's a long meeting tonight, and I appreciate that the council's keeping their wits about them and listening to us, as you always do.
Just say your name, we know who you are.
My name
please.
is Takwi
Thank
Turchin,
you.
and I am currently happily the new president of the Calverton Civic Association. I'm also a member of the coalition who has spoken before you tonight and on many occasions. I would like to echo my thank you from the Civic of the previously mentioned desire that you've mentioned to access outside counsel, not only to recoup the $60,000 that is owed to our town, but also to look at this contract. So in that vein, I'd like to speak to 2 points. The letter of intent stated that initial down payment would be non-refundable if the purchaser extended its due diligence period for another 90 days. The contract states that it is refundable. Why? When did that change? And also, one of the topics the outside counsel needs to investigate is why would a buyer's lessee's law firm, Dwayne Morris, be preparing these documents and deals involving the Riverhead CDA, the runway use agreement, the letter of intent, the contract of sale? It's customary in New York for seller's attorney, not the buyer's attorney, to draft a contract of sale, to my understanding. Then again, it's also customary for the town's attorney to draft a lease of town property, such as the runway use agreement. My question to you tonight is, as previously stated by folks before me, are you willing to engage independent outside counsel to examine this contract? Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Christy Hawkins from Baiting Hollow. And I stood here about a year ago and was concerned about this deal. And as it's gone on, I understand that this room is not packed right now. But if you've been reading the comments online about the environmental concerns, okay, and if you haven't been, then I'm surprised, because it's a good way to keep the pulse on the people that are voting. And they're upset, and I appreciate the supervisor addressing the outrage and making people feel heard. But I'm wondering what kind of community outrage and political fallout there could be when those gifted 1,000 acres are cleared, okay? And don't tell me that that's not gonna happen, because we're dealing with a company that got clearance to build in the Everglades. I mean, that's just like unheard of. And we just saw it happen on 25. So, and I know this sounds like silly, right? But there were 3 dead river otters on 25 as a result of this clearance. And actually that really matters to people, and it really upset, I guess, a lot of people. And again, imagine that times 100 when things start to really go at EPCAL. Okay, so I'm sharing that, and I really, really want you to consider that, because this Preston, where we gifted him 1,000 acres, I think he's gifting us an opportunity to change that contract. If you want to sell this to 555 and do that plan with them and keep it to 643 acres, go for it. But they didn't want that, right? They only wanted the 1,643 acres, or they were walking away. That should have told us everything we needed to know then. And it's just like, it's so disappointing to me. One last thing. On the way here, I stopped at our library. I went through the impact study that was done on EPCAL in March. It was finished March of 2016. I think we paid a lot of money for that impact statement, right? A lot. And the hundreds upon hundreds of comments from your your voters in there about preservation, sustainability, keeping the rural corridor. I don't understand how many people could speak out and it not be heard. And then I think, well, it's hard to get here at night. It's hard to look people in the face and see, but the comments are out there and the concerns are there, and if there's any way to get those 1,000 acres back, I think you'd be taking a crisis and making it into an opportunity. I really do. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I certainly agree with you that it's the will of the community, Christie, to preserve land, and frankly, the trees getting cut down on 25 is devastating. I can't barely stand to drive by there and look at it. It's upsetting. That was approved by the planning board, I think, before we came in office.
It was, yes.
But it's, you made a lot of good points. Thank you.
Thank you.
John McAuliffe of Rolling Woods in Riverhead, also involved with the coalition. I think as this has turned out, we may be singing to the choir, is that the phrase, or that people on the board have already decided that it's necessary, preaching to the choir, whatever the phrase is, that you've made a decision to, at your special meeting next week, to try to grapple with the larger problem, and we're very appreciative of that. So essentially, you could regard what you've just heard as helping to lay the context for that. I want to raise one other point that both Supervisor and Councilman Wooten, we've discussed before, which is this 600 versus 1,600 acres. And I was doing some research and noted in the Riverhead Local that our assessor, Raymond Haas, wrote at one point that out of the 1,600 acres, only 600 are developable. The rest is restricted by the DEC. So it wasn't just imagination that this was what was the ground assumption. And then looking further in the board minutes on April 4th, 2017, on April 4th, the then Supervisor Walter, quoting from the minutes, said Illuminati is just buying the 600 acres and 2 runways. On May 17th, which was 6 weeks later, he boasted, when we turn the property over to him, to Preston, whenever we do, you're right, he's going to come back on the sewer district, but we're going to put a lot of property in the sewer district. We're going to get sewer taxes, and we're not going to pay $100,000 a year to mow the grass. He's going to have to pay that. Now, I looked, and maybe I looked too quickly, but I didn't find a decision in the record that went from 600 to 1,643, and I think that might be one of the topics that your special counsel might look at in terms of the history and the validity of the contract. I don't know whether you've heard anything back from 555 or Germaisian since this has all come about. I can imagine that they're going to try to come up with a way to say that this doesn't matter, that they didn't know that their essential partner had this malfeasance, this irresponsibility. Who knows, maybe they'll even pay off his debts, or at least the town debts. I can't imagine maybe they would be prepared to pay off his larger debts too, but I assume that somehow they're gonna wanna try to hold on to it. And I hope that the attorney that you find can provide the legal basis for saying, no, you can't just make this look okay with a little bit of extra money. The 2 questions, should they do that I think should be asked of them, is if they want to proceed on their own, in effect on their own, does that mean they're willing to give up the 1,000 acres that were part of a special, fairly covert deal with Preston? They said in the Q&E they wouldn't do that, but I think they should be pressed again by the attorney to do that. are they prepared, as we suggested way back when, that they may have a good proposal, but it should come back in competition with other good proposals, and the board and CDA should be able to really look at what they're offering for the 600 acres, and we should reclaim the 1,000. From the earlier dialogue, I would think this, I am not a lawyer, but I find a little questionable how much, in fact, we could claw back the contract. Councilwoman Giglio and Councilman Hubbard may be completely correct on this, but I think that's another question to ask this independent counsel to give you advice about what legal position will you be in to enforce that intent. Again, the question of the role of Daniel Preston's attorney in the actual drafting of the contract that was referred to earlier may come into that counsel's purview. The other point that I think we feel is that this is an extremely difficult, complicated issue, that the expertise of the council should be somebody who knows contract law but also knows local government authority, and that it may even be considered that you want to find somebody who's totally outside of the interests of the purchasers and of other people in Suffolk and Nassau County that may have other agendas and hopes for the land, and see whether you're searching out an attorney maybe you should go further afield. And that's a question that you might want to talk about. The last thing I want to say is, and Christy should have said it herself, she is again organizing a walk, an Earth Day walk at EPCAL. Catherine made it there in between church services, and Jody was there for the whole time. We hope that you both will return and that the other 3 council members will be there. It is the 27th of April. People are going to meet at Bean and whatever it is at 1 o'clock, and then we're going to start Bean and Bagel. It's going to be, Jody, we're using the bike path because of anxiety about ticks. So anyway, there'll be a flyer up, and we hope that all 5 of you will be able.
Bean and Bagel.
1 o'clock at Bean and Bagel.
Get your carbs before you.
Yeah, right, to get yourself ready for it. And then the other side, I'm not sure if it's exactly the same place you had the ceremony for the bike path, but it's on the flyer, and we'll send you something by email on it. But we hope you and hundreds of other people from Riverhead will there to show their concern for this land and why it's important to the town.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Robert Skinner. I'm for Eileen Circle in Jamesport, and I want to talk about something different. So if the board wants to make an address to the prior topic.
No, go ahead.
Okay, that's fine. So as John Cleese would say, and now for something completely different. Back on March 13th, I submitted correspondence to the board with a response that I had gotten from the FAA regarding helicopter noise, and why I considered it to be unacceptable, and suggestions going forward. Downstream of that, I am just wondering, did Riverhead Town as a board or supervisor's office as an entity ever get anything directly from the FAA after they did their program?
No, there was correspondence that kept coming back. It came from Zeldin's office was following that through. There was, if I remember correctly, there was not much response from the FAA. I know they had somebody there that was out for a bit and was supposed to come back, and I could follow up on it again. But as far as I know, there's been no, big decisions or anything from the public comment.
But not even an acknowledgement of receipt of concern from the town?
Well, they do acknowledge that, but then there's no response. you know, there's nothing, you know, setting up anything moving forward, and there was no response as to the public comment period that they heard in a response to that.
Okay.
But it continues to, like, as I said, Congressman Zeldin keeps bringing, you know, continues to bring that forward and keeps everybody informed about what he's doing.
Well, downstream of that then, I noticed that the helicopter noise committee is no longer listed under committees on the town's homepage. Is there any particular reason for that, or is it just an omission?
No, that must be, somehow, it must have been omitted accidentally.
Okay, because there was also conduits to forms to submit complaints and that stuff, and you know, as of this afternoon, I looked, I didn't see anything. And look, May's coming, okay, so I'm sure after this weekend, we're gonna start getting it.
I'm just gonna, John, when some of the stuff was switched around on the side over there and they did the Hot Topic button, was that something that?
It was helicopter complaints were put under Hot Topics just because it was getting pretty lengthy on the side and people were losing track. So I think helicopter complaints got put over there.
Oh, but isn't it listed as a committee still?
You know, I'm looking on the webpage right now and I don't see that, so I'll talk to IT, I'll email
So
them now and follow
we'll
up.
find that out.
Okay.
That's on.
Also, after I had sent that in, I was made aware of comments made by Bob Gocio from Southold, who is the councilman with the North Fork Helicopter Noise, the Southold Town Steering Committee. Made an interesting statement back in February 14. It says the committee has allowed the town to try new initiatives to fight the use of the North Fork route, including regional partnership with other affected towns. Is Riverhead Town involved in that?
Yeah, that's part of the East End Supervisors and Mayors Committees. So it has come through there, and as a joint group, we sent a letter out. And so that's where that, I'm assuming that's what he's referring to.
Okay, it was not made clear in this, and to me, my experience, as was illustrated in my correspondence, is that when Southold's noise goes down, Jamesport noise goes up, pretty much in equilibrium. So I want to make sure that Southold is not dealing directly with East Hampton, or, as I had stated, with Eastern Region Helicopter Council. And again, getting no response from Eastern Region Helicopter Council, no availability for a 2019 Friendly Skies meeting as they had last year. And in the context of the response that I got from the FAA, again, I would have to request that there be some sort of direct, I don't want to say confrontation, but direct contact with the Eastern Region Helicopter Council, since it appears as though, from what was sent to me by the FAA, it is in fact ERHC who is calling the shots on this, with the basically tacit approval of the FAA.
I think people are in agreement with that statement.
And I cannot see how, unless there is a representative body, such as a town board, several town boards, or the type of money that we don't have, how there's going to be any resolution as long as the Eastern Region Helicopter Council is calling the shots on this. So I would respectfully request that again, and
okay,
we'll see where we go from there.
Certainly, as we enter into the busy months, we need to really put the pressure on. I really think we should be working with Southold on this.
Oh, absolutely. I have been saying that for years. It has to be a North Fork group as opposed to Southold versus Riverhead, because otherwise we're going to be in the same situation as what we were in the early 2000s to 2008, when it got shifted from Mattatuck Inlet to this C1, C2 line that the Eastern Region Helicopter Council established over Jamesport. and you can watch them come right over Iron Pier and bank right in between the two, and for the FAA to stand there and tell us we had nothing to do with that, it was an unintended consequence of the cooperation between ERHC and East Hampton. To sit there and say, it wasn't us, after years of being told that it's the FAA who's the problem here, I don't know where to go from here other than to, you know, make these types of requests to the locals, because that to me is the only, that now appears to be the conduit. Going the federal route does not seem to be showing anything that's going to give us what we need.
Well, obviously, the FAA thought they could placate us with a little dog and pony show thing over at the middle school. So it's
Yes.
important that we, you know, get together and keep speaking up, because it's only a matter of a few weeks where before all those homes in Jamesport and those areas, Northville, such, start getting pounded.
Now, I know there was a press release saying that there was some sort of, SWOSI got something done for the area around Whitestone. Do we know anything about that? I mean, is there anything, is there any way that, you know, from municipality to municipality that can be looked at as to how that was accomplished?
I think it's a great idea for the helicopter committee to reconvene, especially because the summer months are approaching, and then to make recommendations to the town board from the committee as to what you would like us to do. And I'm sure Catherine could look into Swazi, what happened in Whitestone, to see what the result of that was and whether or not they were successful.
Because it doesn't seem as though the individuals or the, you know, the regular people are going to be able to get anywhere with this without something
Yeah,
behind
I think it
us.
would be good to have something that comes from the whole town board. I like that idea.
Yep.
Actually, we've been meeting
We're all doing
regularly,
this.
but you're making some good points. I think there's more power when it comes from a whole group, and I'd love to join with Southold in this.
And you know, the Eastern Regional Helicopter is not responsive to anybody. They're a group of people that appoint their own board. They don't answer to the FAA, they don't answer to a town. They're not convened by a town or by the FAA, so it makes it a challenge.
Well, for the FAA to put in print to me that how helpful that they have been since 1977 was something that was so abjectly offensive to me after what I and my family have been through since the 1990s. That just set me completely off. So I thank you for your time and
Thank you.
consideration.
Thanks, Bob.
Evening, John Cullen, Northville. I agree with everything that was said tonight as far as everybody coming up to this microphone. I agree with Bob Skinner also. Things need to be done. High season is about to come very soon. I want to go on another note and just mention something about URT. I saw a lot of stuff in the press, so I know that they did pull their application. And I saw the words, you know, that were written out there and the comments that were written out there. I just want to remind the board that 5 years ago, they came up here for a special permit also. We were here till 11:15 at night. And on that night, the table turned, and they pulled their application then also. They also pulled their application with Illuminati a couple of months ago. And also, after everybody left on that night 5 years ago, at about 11:20 p.m., I don't know why, but I stayed that night, and there was a resolution for the URT to have their taxes lowered and for the town to hire outside counsel. It was passed. I don't know whatever happened with that resolution, but URT, I think, is still suing the town to have their taxes lowered. So I just want to let you know, URT and Mr. Castamatidis seems to be blaming the town, but he should be blaming himself. He wanted more than just 6 tanks of 108,000 gallons of storage for biofuel. We all know that he wanted to put ethanol in those tanks and get gasoline going around that circle by the hospital, about 50 loads a day, going in through the northeast corner of town and out to the highway, just as he wanted to bring in the biofuel by truck. I still don't understand how it could be cheaper for him to bring in all the biofuel from Brooklyn, truck it out, run it out to Sound Shore Road to mix 5% oil, 5% biofuel with home heating oil, when it's coming in by millions of gallons on barge and ships. There have been more ships out there this year than I've ever seen before. He's doing a tremendous business there, and it's just amazing. We know from past experience, after a work session right out here in the hallway, Happy Nelson said, we are gonna get gasoline. We intend fully to get gasoline at those racks on Sound Shore Road. And that's what we're trying to fight against. So when he came up with as I've mentioned to the board before, 38,000 gallons for 5%, 38,000 gallons to mix with ethanol for 10% mix versus 108,000 gallons of biofuel for a 5% mix, the numbers don't match. So as far as I'm just ending up real quickly, it's just not right. He pulled his application because he didn't get what he wanted to get. And he's the guy who usually gets what he wants. But I'm glad the town is all tough to make sure that he doesn't get exactly what he wants. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Move to adjourn.
Seeing nobody else, can I have a first and second to adjourn? Yes. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Hold this so we can get the.